everyone. Welcome to another anime review. This time of Yugioh, known in the West by the fans as Yugioh Season 0. Now, this will cover the 27 episode 1. Now the movie. The movie will be covered at a later time if I'm still doing these reviews. Because honestly, with these 27 episodes, I have a lot to talk about. And try to jam a movie in. That'd be a bit too much, to be completely honest. But yeah. I'm gonna do it in similar format as my Monster Musume review. And hopefully this will be more structured in terms of my Monster Musume review, because my Monster Musume review was very much half script, half me improv. And since it's Yu-Gi-Oh! Yu-Gi-Oh! Is my favorite series of all time. And I can go on tangents, rants, and loving the series for days and days and days. So hopefully will stick to more of work than I did with that review, but let's give the same structure. I'm gonna name voice actors of those major characters, not every character, because we'd be here all day if I did that. But yeah, let's get started. So Yu-Gi-Oh! Season 0 was made by Toei, which Toei only made this season of series of Yu-Gi-Oh! And the Season 0 movie. After that, the rights to the Yu-Gi-Oh! Anime were given to Studio Gap for their 20-year run of Yu-Gi-Oh! And Toei is known for making some shows you might have, like Dragon Ball, Digimon, One Piece, etc. So a bit, they have a huge studio animation, studio, anime as well. So the show's about Yukimo, who is voiced by Megumi Okada, who also voiced Doctor from Akame Drive, and Mako Naegi and Nagato Kameya from Danganronpa series, which Yuki's a shy, timid, high school, but everyone knows he's a wimp and have no problem saying he's a wimp to this guy's face. No shame, it's like, you think you're a loser. Okay, bye. Basically. And, Yuki's trying to, wishes that he has friends. He solved this artifact from Egypt called the Millennium Puzzle, which is said, once you solve it, you can grant any wish, but also releases a dark power, which comes in the form of Yami Yugi, who has the name Yugioh, which Yu-Gi-Oh! Literally, from the subs that I watch, literally translates to King of Games, which is nice. I actually did not know that beforehand. I love that so much. Anyways, he's also voiced by Megumi Okada, which I love that. Both Yukis are voiced by the same voice actress. I love that detail. And I'm pretty sure that's the case for every language that I know of, which I love that fact so much. He was a more confident Yugi, basically. But the biggest personality difference is Yami Yugi is way more confident than normal Yugi. You can see that in the designs, which I do have to give the Toei Season 0 a point over Doom Monsters, is that I feel like the designs scream more personality. If you take a look at Yuki's design, go that's a timid person. And you really don't get that same feeling from New Monsters designs. I love his designs. Dealy, I just think the toy designs, scream personality a bit more. And the show follows Yuki's group of friends that he got via his witch. And I forgot to mention, I'd be going by the dub names. But they were given Do Monster, so they do have Do Monster dub names, because that's what I'm mostly used to. That's what I grew up on. So I'm going with what I'm mostly familiar with. Joey, a hothead, but does have a caring heart. And I love how the slow world Joey's story in life. You find out that his dad's a drunk with a gambling debt. His parents have been divorced for 6 years. And Joey has a sister in a hospital. And you kind of put together, without the show saying, the reason why Joey probably wanted Yuki to be tougher in life in the first episode is because Joey probably thinks you gotta be, tough or act tough to get through life for his life experiences. But Joey has a caring heart. He truly does want the best for the people in his life. Joey is voiced by Taiki Murakawa, who also voiced Minato and Kamui for the Naruto series in the Ultimate Apostle, and Kashiki Murakawa from the Danganronpa series. Then we go on to Tristan. He's typically just the butt of a joke, really. That's just roll of the series, to be the butt of everyone, the joke of everyone. It'd be the simp of Miho, which we get to in a second. But Tristan is basically the butt of every joke. He was voiced by Utaro Oktae, and I'm sorry if I butcher names. I'm trying my best, but I do apologize if I butcher any names. Who voiced Kusaemon in Digimon Frontier, and Usabi in Noragami Octo. And there's Tam, who's always looking out for Yuki, but is a no-nonsense personality. Voiced by Yumi Katsuru, who also voiced Jasmine for Joe Jimleo in the Pokemon anime series. Last is Miho. Voiced by Yukita, who voiced Lalamon in the Digimon series, and Hop, Kale, and Khalifa in the Dragon Ball series. I hate Miho. Because Miho knows that Tristan likes her, and she abuses that. In episode 7, the V-Pet episode, she's like, there's a competition. Whoever has the best V-Pack gets a trip to Australia. For 2. And Tristan, being the simp that he is, offered to help Miho. Tristan went so hard on this. He skipped school, then sleep for 3 days. When he returned to school, he looked exhausted. And, Miho didn't give a crap that he looked exhausted. She was just happy that, Tristan raised this amazing pet. She uses guys, emotions to get what she wants. And then, in episode 19, with a bunch of love letters in her locker, she's like, this is so annoying. I'm like, I get, it would be annoying if you get asked out a lot. Yes, I could see that. 100%. But the fact that, you, you abuse, use affection, man's affection towards your favor, then when it doesn't favor you, you just kind of yeah, I don't want that. That bugs the crap out of me. So badly. And I think the worst part about Miho is that she's not a main character of the manga version, and that's the only comparison I would make to the manga of this video. She was a one-off character. For whatever reason, Toei was let's make her a main character. And godly, I hate my decision with a passion. It's just, But, But I really like this group of friends overall, besides Miho. Because you really do feel like they're friends. They're like joking with each other, always have each other's backs. Like Joey in the second episode, because Teo mysteriously goes off after school. Then Miho Jones, and then Tristan Jones, then mysteriously go off, and Joey's like, yeah, they're teenage prostitutes. And Yuki's like, do you really think they're teenage prostitutes? And Joey's like, nah, I'm just fucking with you. And it's just like, but like, we should check what's up. Like, they kill for one, though. You get that, but they don't mind joking with an show. So, I would say this anime has 3 arcs, which I'm kind of naming them myself, since I couldn't find official names online for arcs. So we'll start off with Everyday Life arc, which I would say is episode 1 for episode 20, which is the book of the anime, which is just literally everyday life. The formula is kind of like Yugi and Ko live life. There's an ass, so Yami Yugi takes care of the ass, so move on to the next episode. The Death Tea arc, episode 21 through 24, we get to the plot when we get to that arc. And the RPG arc, which are episodes 25 to 27, which we'll also get to the plot when we get to that arc. Now I'll just be going them in order. Starting off with episode 1. And no, I'm not going by episode. I'm just covering besides episode 1, which I kind of will give a summary of the whole episode to give more of a better idea how these first 20 episodes work. But after that, it'll just be important details of each episode if they have any. So Yuki's, class leads, as I explained earlier, with no friends besides Teo. Teo's the only one that really truly feels like a friend to Yuki. At this point in time, he's bullying Yuki. So, like, his reasoning is for Yuki to become more tough. Like I said, I think that's because of Joey's background. You realize how tough of a life he is, and he wants Yuki to be like, more manly, so he'd be able to face life better. And Joey also does this time steals a piece of a Milan puzzle when Yuki's still trying to, put it back together. Trudge is for Homer and a disciplining group member of school. Lil, you see him being a policeman, flying a motorcycle, playing card games in Yu-Gi-Oh! 5Ds. Which also, fun fact, you can see Trudge in every single series of Yu-Gi-Oh! Now, he might not have, a speaking role, but you can see his face. Not 7s. I don't think he's appeared in 7s yet, but he appears in Doom Monsters, GX, 5Ds, Zexo, Arc 5, and Brains. That's kind of crazy, and I love that he kind of makes a cameo at the very least in each of the Studio Gap one of the anime. So Trudge, gets one of the facts that Joey. The Tristan was just kind of there, not really bullying Yugi. He was just there. But beats up Tristan for bullying Yugi too. Yugi's like, well, I didn't want this because Yugi is very anti-violence. Then Trudge is like, yeah, you might pay me $200 for my services. And Yugi went home. It's like, I don't know how I'm gonna pay Trudge $200. Solving for a puzzle. He was way solving it. He was in the groove, and he realized, shoot, I'm missing a piece. Must have left it at school. Then Yugi went back to school. Trudge was like, Yugi, what's my $200? What? You don't have it? He beats the crap out of Yugi. Joey and Tristan sees Trudge beating the crap out of Yugi. Joey turns the last piece of the puzzle. Yugi finished the puzzle. And here comes Yami Yuki want to play a game with Trudge. The winner gets $200. And the game is... And the loser gets a punishment. And the game is each person's tied to a rope around a pole on the ceiling, and each person draws a card. If the card determines how much you move, and the first person to reach the ceiling wins. Yamayuki wins, and Charge's punishment is that he thought he gets eaten by worms. So that's kind of how each episode works. Like I said before, Aso appeals, Aso plays a game against Yamayuki, Aso gets punished. So, episode 2, important things, is that Taya gets a job at Burger World so she can earn enough money to go to New York City to become a dancer. The first 2 episodes of this show, you see flashbacks of them in Doom Monsters. So we do use the Trudge storyline, and Taya wanted to become a dancer in New York City and Doom Monsters. And then another important detail is that Taya falls for Yamayuki. She doesn't see him because she was blindfolded, but she hears the voice. And this also talks about eggs and burgers, which makes me think of the Egg Witch from GX. I'm sure that's just pure coincidence, but it makes me think of it. And then, moving on to episode 3, this is the first appearance of Sarakaba with Hakuro Murukawara, who also voiced Tien from Dragon Ball Z Kai Onward, Pikkon, my bad, Android 16, Murujara, and Gashar from the Dragon Ball series. Kaba is the main antagonist for the Life arc and the Death T arc. So this is an introductory episode. This is where Kaiba steals Grandpa's blue eyes, White Dragon, but Grandpa got from an American friend, which that storyline is used in Doom Monsters. But there's also the first episode of Doom Monsters show up. So very historic episode for Yugioh. But unlike Doom Monsters, Yugi and Kaiba tied, and Yugi was able to get Blue Eyes White Dragon back instead of Kaiba whipping it in half. You can't use it against me now. Then moving on to episode 5, this is where Shai first shows up. I was surprised to see him so early. It's been used since the last season 0, so my memory on it is a bit fuzzy. But I'm very surprised to see Shai show up so early. I'm pretty sure it's fine. Excuse me. Real time that we see the Millennium Scale in use, like at all. I think he never uses it in Doom Monsters. It's just season 0 we see in use. And then we also see Shai enters Yugi's mind like he did at the end of Judas Kingdom. But unlike in Judas Kingdom, when in Judas Kingdom it was to find out if Yugi still Pegasus' eye, Millennium Eye, and this is more to find out if the puzzle's power. In episode 6, it builds the tail like Yamayuki Mom. In episode 8, this episode introduces Kaiba's Shinnon, which means 4 heavenly knights. Kind of think of him as assassin to beat Yugi in any game. This episode 8 is the return of Doom Monsters, but these episodes play out like any other episode in the everyday life arc. We just have, Kaiba's main antagonist. That's a reminder. Here you go. And nothing more. And builds up Kaiba as a villain. Episode 11, this is for the introduction of Capsule Monsters, which is Monster Chess. Capsule Monster has 3 video games: Yugioh, Capsule Monster Coliseum, Capsule Monster Bread and Battle, and Capsule Monster GB. This is before Focus tried to make Capsule Monsters Figure of the West, but that's a different story for a different time. I would very much say Capital Monsters is a very important aspect of Yu-Gi-Oh! Even though it's not really a thing anymore, at least to my knowledge. Uh, but I want to play Capital Monsters, but I don't understand how to play from watching the show, which is a shame. Episode 12 is now Shinon episode. Episode 14 is that Teo figures out that Yami, Yugi, and Yugi are two different people. And also Frieza's Japanese voice actor, Ryuichi Naoga, voices the bomb of the episode. And I like to think Frieza just calls random detectives on random planets to be like, you want to play a game? Like, a jigsaw. On his weekends. That's his weekends. Episode 16? Actually, no, my bad. Episode 15 visits a character that goes to Black Rose, goes Akami, who wants to steal a wish card from Yugi, and has an A and an I in her name. Yes, I am finding a way to chew her and Aki in my first Yu-Gi-Oh! Review. I found a way. Let's talk about a wild coincidence. What are the freaking chances of that lining up? It's crazy. Very crazy. But it's also another Doom Monsters episode. Moving on. Episode 16 is where we first meet Serenity. In this show, she's just frail, unlike in Doom Monsters when it's her ISAT. Episode 17 is now Shunon episode. Episode 19 is the first appearance of both Bakura and Mokuba. And also, if you ever want to see Joey in a Miss Dimsdale situation, watch this episode. Yes, that means you get to see Joey in drag. I'm just saying. And the imagery of Joey in a bikini. You don't see that, but he talks about how he will walk a bikini. Again, if you're interested, that's the episode for you. And it legitimately remind me of Miss Dimsdale so much. It's not even funny. Joey does it when he got disqualified. But, I'm like, it was just funny to me. I mean, I really like episode 19. Just the fact that Joey was trying to win to sell the tickets to get money to pay off his father's gambling debt. Very understandable goal. But it just shows how far Joey is willing to go to help out friends and family. And I really enjoy that aspect of Joey. Episode 20, Kabutoku for Kaiba quote from his father, Gozobo. Yes, first appearance of Gozobo. He doesn't. I think he only show in the show for 3 minutes for a major villain and a filler arc in Doom Monsters. And we learned about Kaiba Land, and the focus of this episode is one of the Shinram, Damon, an old man from Kaiba's childhood who wishes to see Kaiba be kind again. This also shows how far Kaiba is willing to go, because Damon is kept alive with artificial organs. And he has a life pod, but he only has 3 hours to live once he gets out the life pod. And this episode also has Doom Monsters. The Everyday Life arc is an arc that I enjoy a lot. It's fun to see all these different games these characters play. Doom Monsters is obviously, the main game people play. But you get some fun aspects, these games are actually games, which sadly, Yu-Gi-Oh! Really doesn't do, even though it's trying to sell you a card game. They don't really treat Yu-Gi-Oh! Like a card game most of the time. But you get, little moments try and get the capture monsters from a gacha machine, or, opening cards from a pack. So again, you think Yu-Gi-Oh! Would be full of that stuff, it's not. But the build of Kaiba being a villain is kind of fun to watch. But the main problem with this arc is that Yugi, the main character you're following, doesn't have a goal. He's just fail. He's just, if it's an asshole, you can take care of him, and then moves on. Joey has goals with his family, Taya has the goal of her being a dancer, and yes, has brought multiple times throughout the series. It's not just like a one and done, kind of like it is in Doom Monsters. It's actually brought multiple times. And, so it just kind of feels like something happens to the characters, react to it, and move on. And well, if it doesn't really damage my enjoyment of the day life arc, because it's a very enjoyable arc, I didn't notice it until like episode 15. I'm like, what's the main goal of Yugioh at this point in time? But it kind of makes it feel like there's no overarching story, because it's really just build up for like the next arc. That's what it kind of feels like. Which, you need build up. Not saying that's necessarily a bad thing, but I feel like you could have condensed it a bit. I give Birth Daylight Life arc a 7 out of 10. And the next up is the Death T arcs. It starts off with Bakura transferring to Yugi's class to celebrate having a new friend. Yugi and his group of friends take Bakura to an arcade, where Bakura seems to be in pain to be around for a million puzzle, and to show that Mokba is an excellent gamer. He has the top score in all the arcade games, like literally all of them. And then Kaiba was like, ha ha ha, Yugi, I kidnapped your grandpa. And he relayed that message via taking over a racing game in the arcade. I mean, hey, however you want to relay your message. And he goes like, the way to save him is to come to my, Kaiba land, where we can play games, and believes it gets a punishment game. And Yugi is like, yeah, I go alone. His friends are like, no, well, mostly Joey. It's like, let's come with you. And then Yugi's like, no. And then Yugi's puzzle gets done, Joey gets it back, and Yugi learns the power of friendship. So Yugi, Joey, Miho, Teo, Tristan all go to Kaiba Land to take part in Death T, which has a live studio audience. And the live studio audience has no problem with Death T being basically a Saw game. They don't give a shit. But my biggest problem with Death T arc is that most of the games in Death T I don't find enjoyable. Like, there's like this game when it's like a giant robot with name Blood with 2 L's in its name, and Joey, Taya, Miho, and Tristan have to put down a level to make sure the robot doesn't move too fast. And if you let go of the correct level, that stops the robot. But if you lift up a level that's not the correct level, the robot speeds up. And Yugi has to figure out which one it is. Of course he does, but it's like, it doesn't feel like a game, but it feels like more like a death trap from Saul. It's, like, I know those type of thing, games, have their fans. And I enjoy the Saw movies for what they're all, but like, when the game, show us focus on games, I feel like it's a bit out of place, and like half the games are kind of death traps, and also like there's like a laser tag game where we're going up against military pros, and the way they win is because Miho is a spaz, and it's just like it takes the strategy out of it. I know it's pretty up for humor, but I hate Miho. She fell asleep and she woke up, spazzed out, and that's how she wins. It's just like, but if it's free out of the 7 games that I thought were great, like excellent, like best in the show so far. 2 of them are Doom Monsters, and the other one's Capture Monsters, so games we've always seen before, but I think they were greatly executed here. The first one is Grandpa vs. Kaiba and Doom Monsters. You see Grandpa being overwhelmed by the holograms. Like, Grandpa thought he won. He played his blue eyes. The Kaiba's like, haha, I have a blue eyes. I have 2 blue eyes. Nah, I have 3 blue eyes. And that overwhelms Grandpa. It's nice to actually see that duel, at least the end of it. And then next is Capture Monsters with... Oh, before we move on to the next game, Grandpa gives Yugi his deck. I'm saying, his cards and the cards. The second match I want to talk about more in depth is Mokuba versus Yami Yugi in Capsule Monsters. Still don't know how to play Capsule Monsters, but like Yami Yugi wins because like friendship. That's how I won. And after he tells Mokuba that after he saves Mokuba from this punishment game, then you see Mokuba pose out like the famous kid Kaiba Boris pictures when in the orphanage playing chess. It was very neat to see that picture in the series. And Mokuba's like, please save my brother from his, like, get his heart back, Yugi. So the next match is Kaiba versus Yami Yugi monsters. And what makes this duel cool is basically Yami Yugi's and Cell's first duel in Duel Monsters. Basically, beat for beat. You get the free blue eyes, you get the Souls revealing light, you get Exodia! Obliterate! Honestly, watching that made me feel like a kid. Nostalgia reasons, of course, but like, it was cool to see. And also, that duel, along with Yugi vs. Kaiba 1 round in Season 0, is the only 2 duels in the series that actually keep track of life points. The other ones to just say stuff, things happen, and someone just like, oh, I lost. Like, it's hard to follow Duel Monsters. Actually, it's impossible to follow Duel Monsters in this show, which is a shame. But, if I wasn't into Yu-Gi-Oh, I think Duel Monsters would have definitely grabbed my attention. Of course, it's very hard for me to say with how deep I am into Yu-Gi-Oh. But, like, I think I would have loved to see Yu-Gi-Oh. And Yami Yugi, my question is Kaiba. And Yugi is like, if there's any kindness left in this man's heart, he will come back. But if it's not, he's a vegetable, and I basically vegetable ties your brother Mokuba. It's fine. Just hope that he has kindness in his heart. So that's kind of a FTR. Honestly, I give it an 8 out of 10, even though I didn't like a lot of the games, though gone quickly enough, it's like didn't leave like a bad taste in my mouth or anything. Like the first 2 games were done in like 10 minutes. It didn't drag. If even 10 minutes, really. And like the games that I really enjoyed. So, and it's great character moments between the friend group of Yugi, Miho, Joey, Taya, and Tristan, and great character work for Mokuba and Kaiba. So, an 8 out of 10. The last arc of Season 0 is the RPG arc. It shows the Millennium Wing taking over Bako's body. Like, literally, it has the spikes at the end of Millennium Wing are sticking into Bako in his skin. This causes, like, Bako to feel ill due to probably being near the puzzle and, like, Bako trying to take over. So, like, Yugi and friends are, like, concerned about Bako, so they go to his house. But Yami Biko has taken over, and it's like, Yugi, Joey, Tristan, Taya, and yes, even you, Miho, do you want to play this RPG called Monster World? And they all agree, and they all make the characters, which, a fun detail, but I kind of shrieked in excitement when I picked up what Duel Monsters did, was that each of the characters' class that they pick in this RPG reflects from their favorite monsters from Yami Biko versus Yami Yugi duel and Duel's Kingdom. Like, Yugi is magician, and his favorite monster is Dark Magician. Joey's is swordsman. Favorite card is Fire and Swordsman. Tristan is a magic gunman. Favorite card is Cyber Commando. Taya is a sorcerer, and her favorite card is Magician of Fate. And Miho is a merchant because she likes money. Miho is very materialistic, and will step on anyone to get what she wants. It feels like Uh, so and Yami because the Game Master, Yugi and his friends got the source points to their figures, and then Yami Yugi takes over as for player for whoever dies, do all that fun stuff. And it's fine. And Yami Biko has been pulling on Biko's friends' souls and figures, so they'd be closer to him, quote unquote, granting Biko's wishes. And the final boss that Yugi and friends need to defeat, his name is Zoke. This Zoke is very different design-wise from Doom Monster Zoke. This Zoke has a ritual monster in the TCG, but Doom Monster Zoke doesn't have anything like that. The closest thing that Doom Monster Zoke has to like a monster card in the TCG is that the card DDD Super Doom King Purple On Game reference Zoke, which is still, Kunanan to Zoke, but and this Zoke is also a part of Yami Biko, like how Zoke and Doom Monsters is a part of Yami Biko. And during the final stretch, Noma Biko helps out Yami Yugi. Basically the same kind of role he had during the duel between Yami Yugi and Yami Biko and Doom Monsters in terms of messing with Yami Biko's body. Well, he doesn't do that on Doom Monsters, I don't think. But kind of being like a nuisance to Yami Biko. And Yami Yugi wins despite all the BS that happens. There's a lot of BS. Like on both sides, Yami Yugi and Yami Biko. Like they both Yami Yugi, Yami Biko roll a certain way to get, the dice rolls they want. And then they ban that because we're both cheat. So let's ban how we cheat. And then Yami Biko puts souls and dice. So he goes oh, I can get whatever I want because I have souls in this dice. And stuff like that. It kind of gets a bit too much in terms of, haha, MacGuffin. But it's still a very fun arc to watch. I would say this is the best arc. I would give it a 9 out of 10. It's very fun to watch. And I would kill to buy all the figures of all the characters of the main cast and have them as a collection. Yes, even Miho. I would love to own that. The opening, Kyle Ata Shikibi by Bio of View, and the ending, Ach Ta Mochi Kimi by Ko Well Tomom, by Wands. Very good opening and endings. And fun fact about the opening, it shows Yami Yugi summoning his ace monster, Dark Magician, but he actually never summons Dark Magician in the show. Very fun fact, and one of my hilarious. Overall, I give Season 0 9 out of 10. It's a very fun watch, having fun to see all the different games I play. Doom Monsters, Capsule Monster, Beat Pets, Jigsaw Puzzles, to name a few. And even though I love the Yu-Gi-Oh! The Yu-Gi-Oh! Card game, Yu-Gi-Oh! Show and how to progress overall. I wish there was still the show and you see these characters play a different game every week. I think it's a neat idea. And if there's a show out there that's like that, I do not know of it, and I wish to know of it. Because I love playing games, and I love seeing different types of games. Actually, no, the gambling anime. Shoot, what's his name? I forget the top of my head, but they play different games of that. So, something that's I can't believe I forgot about that. If I would remember that when I was finding the name of it, because I always forget the name of the show. Um, but that's a very good show, and I love how they do different games and that. So I do have my substitute, quote unquote. But for 27 episodes, I say that Yu-Gi-Oh! Season 0 is a great watch. Like, definitely watch it if you have any inkling in watching um, Yu-Gi-Oh! Season 0. And, like, I guess warning, it's not edgy. Like, so much edgier than the normal Yu-Gi-Oh! Show, like, people claim. And I think people claim that's because they watch Season 0 and then accustomed to the dub of Yu-Gi-Oh! But if you watch Yu-Gi-Oh! Season 0 for, like, the subs of Yu-Gi-Oh! It's not that much darker. If even darker, like, if it feels like the same as a normal Yu-Gi-Oh! Show. You know, so take that as you will. You know, but manga might be like edgier, but I'm not gonna cover the manga version of Season 0 Odu Monsters because it'd be like, it is exactly the same, minus the filler, and edgy. You know, so I feel like that'd be basically the video. So, anyways, thank you all for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed this, and we'll see you all next time. Bye.